The forms and rebar for the frost wall are all complete, and we've passed another inspection. We're pouring frost walls today. Once again, this pump truck has become an invaluable tool for getting this job done quickly, efficiently, and safely.
I said if it ain't, just trowel it.
With the frost wall all set and the forms all removed, it's our turn to jump in and start working. We started by putting a waterproof membrane around the entire outside of the frost wall, less an area where the outdoor porch will be. And we started installing insulation. 2 layers of insulation, 2-inch and 1.5-inch polystyrene or foam insulation on the outside of the frost wall, again with the exception of where the outdoor porch will be. Where there is some insulation in the inside, and there'll also be insulation installed later on the floor before the slab is poured. With so much rainfall overnight, there were several inches of water in each bay of the foundation. In order for our excavation contractor to infill with sand and stone, we had to pump this water out ahead of time. A drainage system must be installed around the cistern. This is done using coarse rock, PVC pipe with perforations in it, a sheet that goes over top, and then more soil to backfill. We also extended this drain and the cistern overflow drain. With the infill of sand complete in each bay of the foundation, Derek and myself start the install of the plumbing that will be used for the gray water lines, the rainwater catchment inlet line that feeds the cistern, as well as a hose that comes from the cistern back to the utility room that will be attached to a pump.
That ain't gonna wash out.
Nope, that's in there. First phase of completing this cistern is to pour the floor. We use a mix of sand, gravel, and Portland cement to create the mixture of concrete that is used to create this floor. Derek is inside the cistern spreading the concrete as we pour it to about 2 to 3 inches thickness and smoothing it out so that we're ready for the next stage, which is parging. I took some time to install some radon piping that has to be underneath our slab floor. Radon is a naturally occurring radioactive gas that is in our environment. It's not normally a big deal, but if it gets into an enclosed space like a home, it can be hazardous to your health.
I believe I am my masonry.
I'm gonna dunk my head in that barrel right now. Oh yeah, well, that right? I will save some for you. Maybe what we should do.
Well, we passed another inspection, our under 4 plumbing, which means we can now have this filled in with stone to prep it for the slab, but the slab's not coming for another 4 or 5 weeks because we still have to do the slip form masonry walls prior to that. However, I'm going to take you through the plumbing a little bit here. So right here, this is the cistern I was talking about. This is that 7,200 liter cistern I talked about in the first video. You see the white pipe here. This is the overflow, and at the bottom there's actually a drain for it too if you ever need to drain the cistern to clean it. Right behind me here you see the 2 pipes here. So the larger pipe, that's actually the inlet, so that's where it goes out to the outside of the house. You can see it traveling along here, and that will be attached to east trough system with a first flush system and all that. That's where the rain gets caught, comes in and fills this cistern. The smaller line that you see right there, that is the line for the inlet to the pump, which will be pumping the water from the cistern, and it will go into the house for use in sinks and showers and what. So that line will actually have a T or an elbow bolt on it, sorry, and that elbow will go down to the bottom of the cistern, and there will be a foot valve on the bottom of there, but I'll show you that later once it's installed. We finished doing the cistern floor today, so that's a concrete floor about 2 inches thick. You can kind of see it here. So that's setting now. Tomorrow we'll be parging the walls with a masonry sand water mix, and then the following day we'll be following up with another 2 inches or so of concrete on top to close the top of this off, less a 2 by 2 foot access hole to get in. Let's go through the rest of the plumbing. Okay, so where I'm standing here, this is actually the first bay of the house. So there's a second bay and the third bay there, you can see. Cistern is attached to the front of the second bay. This bay actually has 2 rooms in it, which kind of separates pretty much where you see this pipe coming up here. There'll be a wall there, and so that pipe there is for the laundry tub or laundry sink. And over here, this pipe is for if we ever want to have like a washing machine or something like that. That will be for and this is gray water, by the way. This is the gray water pipe for that. Again, right beside it, the black pipe sticking up there, that's the the line that goes to the cistern, and the pump will be connected to the end of this line here, and that's what brings the water up from the cistern to the house. This white pipe you see, there's two of them. There's one here and there's one in the next bay that goes to the third bay as well. This is for radon. Radon is a gas that could form underneath your slab. There's not really any traces of it around this area. However, it is code to put it in, and then it has to be tested for a few months, and if they find no traces of radon, then you can actually cut these stacks that you see. There's one there, one down at the end. You can cut them level with the floor and cap them off. If they do find radon, then these stacks actually have to go up through your roof and be vented. Already talked about the rainwater inlet line and the pump line. This is for the kitchen sink, so it's pretty much dead center on the second bay. Again, that's gray water. And then moving into the third bay, this is where the bedroom will be, and the back part of this is going to be bathtub, and that will be for a sink as well. And in the corner here we have a closet where we've got the other radon vent coming up. And that's it. That's the plumbing for this house. Pretty straightforward, pretty simple. And the last part of it is the gray water exits off the east of the house right here. And we're not sure exactly where we're going to be running that yet, but we've got it through the house right here. After allowing the cistern floor to set for 24 hours, it's time to start parging the sidewalls. This parging is used to prevent water in the cistern from seeping through into the walls of the concrete. We use a mixture of masonry sand, which we sifted from the sand that we had available to us because we don't need a lot. It didn't make sense to purchase a bag of masonry sand by itself, and that's mixed along with the Portland cement. It is then applied to the walls of the cistern, much like you would plaster or even drywall, in order to create this barrier between the concrete and the water. We start off at about 1 inch thick at the bottom and work our way up to about a 1/4 inch thick near the top, roughly. It doesn't have to be perfectly smooth, but we try to do our best.
Then you just take your trowel and start, so it's laying at this angle. Okay. You're putting the pressure under here.
On the bottom, right?
Yeah, on that side, and dragging up and pushing at the same time. And that's that. Like spots like this that, you just
a little bit.
Take a little bit.
Yeah, fill it in.
Fill it in. I usually don't, go too crazy about that until I'm got an area.
Yeah.
And then I pass over it one more time to make sure it's thick enough or, stuff like that.
We also took this time to start setting up the first row of forms that will be used for the slip form masonry walls. Unfortunately, there was 4 pieces of rebar on the one side that needed to be relocated, so I had to cut those, drill some holes, and relocate them to the proper position.
What you're saying is we could sell this as a spa treatment.
It's actually nice. I'd sit on a chair and put my feet in it. It'd feel really good.
Well, you figure out to make all this work sound like a spa treatment, and then people actually pay you to come do it.
See, that would be good.
That would be sweet.
Cool. Yeah. It was just, I was thinking we had a brown one, but because how many of those things do you need, right?
With parging complete, we move on to creating the forms that need to be used to pour the top of the cistern. This is about a 2-inch pour. It's not the final slab. It's just to make the work area safe so we don't have this big hole that somebody could fall into, less the 2x2 area for actually accessing the cistern. At the same time, our excavating contractor is back to infill the rest of the base with the stone since the plumbing is complete and inspection has been passed. I don't screw up.
Well, there's a close-up you screwing up, you can edit
That's
it.
okay, that's why we edit videos.
That's right. That's why you edit videos. Me, not so much.
The important thing is that when you sweat, the sawdust sticks to you, and that feels really good. Really?
Yep. You want to go back and look so we can take anything?
As you can see, we've added rebar to the cistern top as well prior to pouring the concrete. This helps to provide the added strength that's needed to carry the slab floor that will be put over top in the final pour. With the forms up and the foundation all backfilled and infilled, you really start to get a feel for the shape of this house and the size of this house. Next week we start on the slip form masonry walls, and this will be about a 4 to 5 week process. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's going to be fun to see these walls come together.